Hey, and we're back with another episode of Before You Buy. That show where we give you some straight up gameplay and some of our first impressions on the latest games releasing. As usual, it's me, Jake, and today we're talking about Aliens, Fireteam Elite. The publisher sent us early access to this game and we've been playing it quite a bit. This is essentially a round-based, chaotic Aliens Marines shooter where you and some friends can blast your way through missions using a variety of different weapons and class-specific skills to your advantage. If that sounds like a familiar concept, don't worry, it is. That's totally fine, though. The Aliens franchise has been begging for a fun shooter for quite some time. Years back, we had Colonial Marines. We all know how that went. Then we had Alien Isolation, which focuses more on the style of the original Alien film. Slow, dark, ominous, and scary and stressful, but no modern Aliens franchise game has been able to capture the sequel vibe, not since like the early 90s. In recent years, we've been looking for something like this, something that really replicates, the film Aliens, the one by James Cameron, the one that brought us all the iconic alien blasting and scenery chewing soldier dudes and a bunch of chaos and gore. So this game goes for that vibe and focuses on fun and chaotic shooting above all else. And it's not too bad. It has some flaws, and I think you need to keep your expectations in check, but if you have a group of friends online to play with, you might have a good time. It's not a full-priced game. It's on all the major platforms, and it's like $40, and it doesn't really have much to offer other than raw alien killing, but it's satisfying to shoot alien bugs. So what you get here is a game thinly veiled as a story-based campaign. You create your own character and a pretty light character creator, and then you jump in with barely an intro cutscene. It's over 20 years after the original trilogy. The future corporations are at it once again, and it's up to you to talk to crewmates and fellow soldiers around this base ship, the Endeavor, to get info on the plot and the world, maybe buy some gun upgrades, and load into one of the bunch of missions spread out across a handful of different environments, like, an abandoned ship, a facility on an alien planet, spooky ancient caves, and more. The base is where the game shows its budget limitations. There's not much other than a few crew members and commanding officers standing around waiting for you to click on them. They spout a bunch of exposition at you about like the state of the world, the current mystery going on with an expedition, and possibly a rogue artificial intelligence, and then it gets kind of crazier from there. And it's all delivered through voiceovers with characters standing there, not animating to the dialogue, not even their mouths. It's not the first game to do this. It's often fine, but it feels weird and lonely here. It leads to these areas and in-mission dialogues to just all feel kind of lifeless, lacking the flavor or the zest of anything close to Michael Biehn or Bill Paxton or anything like that. This makes it really, really important to play with friends to fill in the blanks, or else, you're going to be playing through something a bit dull, unless you're just a super, super diehard Xenomorph fan. I do respect the game for allowing me to play through it solely single player and giving me some bot teammates. I myself, as you guys know, I am just a lonely gamer, but here, for this one, it ain't it for me. I know this might be a turnoff for some, I understand, but it's way more enjoyable with friends. The whole presentation aspect might be disappointing, but everything else seems to have been spent on getting the action right, and it's pretty satisfying. We've played here with both a mouse and keyboard and a controller, and it feels pretty good. There's some decent weapon feedback, and most importantly, the weapons sound cool. Specifically the pulse rifles, of course. I'm happy to announce they sound great, and something seemingly so small does actually make all the difference. You can aim down sights or just hip fire, which works out especially nice if you're using a shotgun. The shotgun might feel a bit soft, but it does explode aliens at point blank range, so you can kind of Gears of War your way around if you want to feel like a badass. Don't get it twisted though, it's not as tight as similar third-person games. It can feel a little bit clunky here and there. The melee is ineffective and weak, but the dodge roll works well enough. Cover is kind of half-baked, but you're gonna be using it only in certain specific scenarios. It's actually funny how many chest-high third-person shooter cover walls are in the game, where most of the time you're shooting hordes of Xenos running at you. The only time cover really comes into play is when you're getting into shootouts with synths and stuff, and it's bare minimum usable. But those shootouts are pretty fun, I'm not gonna lie. Anyway, I really do want to highlight the fun of the chaos here. This game does a really good job of giving you that feeling of being overwhelmed, walking a perfect tightrope between manageable fun and total insanity. There's something really satisfying about hearing from the radio, like, oh, they're coming from the ceiling, and then you just see dozens and dozens of creatures crawling towards you, running along pipes, climbing down columns, bursting through the vents, and when you're in a big area or like a big map and you can see a mass of them coming from far away, it's pretty exciting. The game incentivizes you in different ways per class to just continuously blast away at these baddies. It's one of those games where it definitely just wants you to hold down the trigger and spray towards a bunch of them. And it works really, really well. There's a good amount of kill feedback, and hitting their weak points makes it even better. The acid blood goes everywhere. They shriek and collapse with really cool dying animations. It just really is something else when everyone is working together, fending them off from all sides. One person shooting to the left, one person shooting to the right, one person covering your back, stuff like that. And every class has different abilities like special types of grenades, healing, turrets, and the further you go, the more you can modify your loadout with newer tricks. You have to like slot them all together and make sure they fit in this box. It's kind of like Nier Automata's chip system mixed with the Resident Evil 4 attaché case system. They all got to fit in this box, and it's really fun to squeeze in some passive perks in there too. Like, this all works pretty nicely along with the other stuff you're earning. The game often gives you a minute of downtime to stop and place some mines or turrets or even more stuff if you're the technician class. You can kind of set up some of the big battles before actually triggering them. But even with the best laid plans, things always get messy because you have larger enemies often rushing towards you or spitters launching acid bombs at you. Now, some of the larger enemies and how they sometimes come out of nowhere might feel a little like BS, and when they get you in a quick time event, it's kind of whack, but they do still do a great job of like changing up the play in the battlefield and making everyone go, oh, okay, focus your fire on these guys. It's fun. So you're worrying about the guys rushing towards you or the spitters launching acid bombs at you or the heavier guys, and there are a decent amount of fun over-the-top alien enemies that shake things up. I only wish there were more, and really more boss encounter type things to actually help the pacing, because it sorely lacks that. Definitely increase the difficulty and make it a challenge to get through, because other than the satisfaction of winning, there isn't really too much else. Although I will say that as things move along in the game, I was happy to see some of the more recent Alien Ridley Scott stuff represented here and there. I won't spoil it for fans, but it was really nice to see. Like, level design, layout-wise, things can be a bit forgettable, but the actual architectural design of some areas, the spookiness of caves, the slimy grossness of the alien interiors, all take perfect design cues from the movies, and it's nice to see them. That's along with the music. You know, there's a couple weird tracks here and there, but most of the time, the music builds tension in a really good, satisfying sci-fi way that fits pretty nicely with the rest of the movies. The same goes for the characters themselves. You know, the armor, skins, helmets, bandanas, and stuff you can adorn your character with are all ripped straight out of Aliens, and it's pretty cool. You can earn money and unlock stuff in a store back at base, like I said, and the most satisfying of that are, of course, the weapons. You can get different weapons, but also a bunch of different attachments that really shake things up, like your stats and stuff, and it does a fairly good job of keeping you invested and upgrading. Now, you can find these attachments in the field in little boxes if you're lucky, or you can buy them from the dude at the shop. And also, we haven't seen any microtransactions, which is nice. There are a lot of weapon skins to earn and cool stickers like the Weyland Yutani logo or like a hand-scratched adios on the side of your gun, stuff like that. So, again, when you're in it and you're being challenged and you're killing xenomorphs and moving through levels and even getting the occasional jump scare, Fireteam Elite really, really works with friends. The thrill of seeing a horde rush in, to see them fall prey to your traps, and the adrenaline rush and all of that is really, really well done, and it's cool. If you turn on your critical brain and you're looking for tighter, deeper gameplay systems, more of a story, more accuracy, more modes, of which, like, there really aren't any modes other than this, that's where you're going to be disappointed. But for moment-to-moment alien blasting, if that's what you're going into it for, then it ain't bad. Maybe a little bit forgettable, but if you've got some friends and a party chat going, you can't help but have a little fun. It might sound like I'm under-explaining it or I'm rushing through it, but it is a really simple, straightforward, no BS game. So there you have it, guys. This is a before you buy. You know how it works by now. I give you some pros, some cons, and some personal opinion, and now I want to hear yours down in the comments. What do you think? Have you been anticipating this game? What's the last good Aliens game that you remember? Are you old like us? Did you play all those old Aliens games in the 90s and 2000s? Maybe you liked Aliens Colonial Marines more recently. I don't know, I'm not gonna hate on you. But let's talk about anything alien and aliens down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, maybe you thought it helped you out and informed you, clicking the like button's all you gotta do. It really helps us out. We would appreciate that. And if you're new, consider subscribing and maybe hitting that notification bell because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Now we need to get you across that canyon. There. Controls on the overlook. Get that bridge extended.